Welcome back to the Solo in Seattle podcast, where we get real about relationships, self growth, and navigating life on your own terms. Today, I'm sitting down with Brett to talk about some things we don't hear often enough: weight loss through the male lens. We're diving into what it looks like to work on yourself as a man, how that plays into dating in Seattle, and finding the confidence to live alone while still thriving socially. This one's raw, insightful, and definitely relatable. So let's get into it. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Amanda.
How are you today?
I am doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Just hanging in there like the rest of us, Just today was a nice day. Did you go outside?
Other than going to Orange Theory,
Yeah, I didn't go outside at all today. I was like, no, but I heard it was like really pretty.
yeah, it was nice and sunny. It was a perfect temperature, only 70 something, which I enjoy.
Speaking of Orange Theory, how many classes are you in now?
Man, today I think was my 530th class at Orange
Holy
Theory.
shit. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, this is the first time in my life I've been consistent in working out.
Do you feel like if you miss a day that it kind of ruins your day?
Not really.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't like going,
Mhm.
but I don't make my desire to go a reason to go,
Yeah.
if that
Okay.
makes sense.
I haven't been to the gym in probably a week just because 'cause I've been kinda busy doing everything else but focusing on health. Before, I would kind of be like, "I need to go, I need to go, I need to go," and be really hard on it. And now I'm just kinda like, maybe I'll go, maybe I'll not go. I don't really care."
That's understandable, but, actually, TikTok kinda changed my perspective on that. I was listening to TikTok, and they showed the 4 things you need to do to be a healthy person, the most important things, and, 1 was eat 5 fruits and vegetables a day, 2 was get enough sleep, 3 was man, I guess I don't remember as well, but one of them was work out 3 times a week,
Okay.
and I made the decision that no matter what, I'm working out at least 3 times a week
Yeah.
and I can't make any excuses. Well, if I have family going up or I'm injured, but if unless I have a really good excuse, I'm gonna work out. It's a priority in my life.
Yeah. So I will say historically, I would try to do 4 times a week. I'm gonna go after you and I conclude our podcast, and so I do plan on going Friday, Saturday, Sundays to meet my 4 days, kinda shift it. Usually, I try to go Monday to Thursday and take the weekend off, but I think I'm gonna shift it from Thursday to Sunday this week to try to meet it and get my workout in.
That's
So
good. Movement's very important.
yeah. I mean, there's just so many different moving parts in my life right now that just I'm trying to sort out what I want to do first, how I want to do it strategically, and how I want to land things. Talk to you almost daily about kind of goals and goal setting and what I got going on and things like that. So you're kind of aware of all the moving parts. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in this kind of weird space of like wanting to move away from being social and want to move back into the space of building my businesses.
Yeah, that makes sense. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't know. At my age, I feel like the biggest mistake I made in my life was not making moving consistently a priority,
Mhm.
allowing myself to get it as out of shape as I got.
Yeah.
Um, was something I very much regret, and I used to be an athlete. I mean, I wrestled and played football in high school, and I was pretty darn good at it. I'm not saying I was a college level athlete or anything, but I was a really good high school athlete, and
Mhm.
just to let that go by not making that a priority, in my humble opinion, was just one of my biggest life regrets,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Well, and so I actually had a conversation with a friend earlier, and when I moved here 11 years ago, I was very petite, I was very thin, I was a runner, and then I entered into a relationship, and that relationship lasted almost a decade, and I gained 100 pounds in a decade. I did not realize that I was as heavy as I was. I didn't realize I was as unhealthy as I was. And I think that's how you and I met was through TikTok, through the weight loss journey. And then we figured out we had some common denominators in our personal life. I mean, I started documenting my weight loss journey and I was able to initially knock off 100 pounds. I kind of yo yo back and forth with the GLP as well. I'm on it, I'm off it, I'm on it, I'm off it. Right now, I'm off of it again just because the last round I was still at my weight loss stall. I'm paying out of pocket now because I don't have contracts anymore because of the terzepatide lawsuit. I'm still at 210. I've been at 210 for quite some time. on and off GLPs, so I'm just gonna maintenance it myself. So plateaus are a bitch.
Yeah.
We definitely have to shift something to get out of that plateau, and that's kinda where I'm at now, is removing the social part so that way I can focus more on what's important: health, wellness, business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, one thing that I did in my life that really changed my idea of work, especially working out, because I used to be in the idea of I want to work out to lose weight. I ate this much, so I should work out more, burn calories and everything. But I just shifted my mindset to move
Mhm.
and not worry about the weight part of movement because historically I would gain weight, I'd do stuff like, CrossFit or go to the gym, and I would do well, and then I would hurt myself and gain a little weight and then feel sad and, "I don't feel like going to the gym, I gained, like, 10 pounds, so I'm gonna sit home and eat ice cream." Or the other side, which is like, "Oh, wow, I've lost 30 pounds, I feel so much better, do I really need to go to the gym today?" And I just noticed how making weight loss my goal, especially when it comes to movement, doesn't help me to move. So if I make the idea I move just to move, I move to make my body feel better in the future. And the most important part of movement is to work on my heart, to help elevate my mood, to just make my body healthier and stronger and not associate it with the goals of weight loss, especially since for myself, my first year at Orange Theory, I lost no weight and I was 470 pounds for straight 8 months, lost nothing, and it was very discouraging. And if I put weight loss as my goal, especially with how much pain I was in that first month, like I was in so much pain. I could only work out twice a week. I was walking at like at 1.2 miles per hour. I threw my back out for 2 months, which is the reason why I joined Orange Theory because I just never done that before. Throw out my back and have it last that long. Yeah, so if I made weight loss my goal at Orange Theory, I would have quit.
That's a very good perspective to have, right? Is you need to focus on the wellness side of things versus the numbers game. Because for me personally, the number 210 doesn't exactly bother me, and neither does the size where I've landed in the plateau, but it's more so of not being results driven. And that's where I kind of get stuck. And
Oh, that's very easy to do, especially right now. I stopped weighing myself, to be honest. I only weigh myself when I go to the doctor, and if I have like a 6-month interval, I might weigh myself at Orange Theory in between.
mhm,
Because right now I weigh around 370, so I'm down like 100 pounds.
mhm.
And 370 is so much better than 470, but
Amen.
370 is still huge.
Yeah.
I still look at I'm a football fan, and I'm still a really big nose tackle.
Mm,
And someday I wanna get to defensive tackle and maybe even linebacker.
okay. So, speaking of that, what was your starting point and what triggered the decision to lose the weight?
My starting point was well, I've been trying to lose weight off and on since I was sophomore in high school when I was a wrestler, trying to get down to 190, being like 215 during football season, and then get down to 190. And ever since then, I just yo-yo dieted my entire life. I did keto, I did OMAD, I even did the bulletproof diet where I just drink uh, coffee with butter in it for 2 months. Where I just like 4 days in a row, nothing but butter and coffee and pickles because, the idea of pickles had negative calories. 4 years ago, actually 4 years ago, I made a decision that I was either going to lose weight or stay fat the rest of my life because honestly, I was sick of it. I was just sick of trying to bring myself up, build myself up, and then be disappointed and then gain more weight than I lost. And so I decided to work because all my life I've really been into self-improvement, mostly because I wanted to do it my own and not really rely on other people because I want to just do things myself because I think probably because I don't feel like I can rely on other people to help me. But this time I used my insurance to get a therapist, and my therapist that I got who worked with eating disorders said I work with a nutritionist, so I got a nutritionist. So I started working on mindful eating and intuitive eating, and I gained a bunch of weight because I worked on like having lots of food in my house and being able to not have it control me, but at first it did, so I ate a lot of food, but I stuck with it, and then I threw my back out, as I said, and for 2 months it would not heal, and then I thought about my old boss who went to Orange Theory, and he raved about it nonstop, and he lost a bunch of weight, and I was like, "Fine." The times I was successful in the past is when I went out and did something, and I was stuck at home because I work from home now, work remote in my job. It's like I kind of miss people, so I decided to check out Orange Theory.
It's been kind of like a home away from home, it seems like, as far as you said, you're committing to go there, you're got your plan in place, and now you have a lot more success in using Orange Theory for being able to work out safely.
Yeah, I don't want to turn this to an advertisement for Orange Theory, but that's the thing that worked for me, being
Yeah.
able to go out to somewhere where people are happy to see me, where I can go and not think about what I'm doing and they just tell me what to do, to have some cardio and some weightlifting.
Mhm.
And that works for me because I think just the idea of movement is find the movement that works for you.
Yeah.
And just as I said, I used to be into sports and I like that sport aspect
Mhm.
of, like, being part of a team, and Orange Theory when I CrossFit a long time ago, it had that, or going to the same step class where you start getting to know people
Yeah.
has that
Building
aspect.
community for sure.
Yeah, that community part's very important to me, and in fact, this I was gonna say this entire weight loss journey has been trying to focus on what works for me, what can keep me going, what can keep me being consistent. Being consistent has been more important to me than having progress.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's one thing that I do have. I have discipline and I have consistency, and I'm a creature of habit. And so, depending on which way the wind blows, is kind of where the discipline for me goes. Whether I commit to it, whether it's being social or whether it's being through working out, it's always going to be the same kind of timeline that week of either I'm going to be social or either I'm going to be social or either I'm going to be social and work out,
Oh, yeah.
kind of depending on where things are, what I got going on.
I can't lie, having a stable job in the last 4 years has also made it helpful
Yeah.
to be able to go, and number 1, to afford it, but also to be able to set a time because 'cause I'm also a creature of habit.
Yeah, yeah, no, I everything is scheduled with me. It's in a calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's not happening for me. So how did being a man influence your journey? Like expectations, maybe even stigmas, encouragement, or lack of thereof with this just transition with the weight loss?
I think part of wanting to do it on my own is being a man. Having a male perspective, asking for help is seen as a weakness, and being a man, one of the worst things you can do is be weak or show weakness. And so being able to go outside of myself has been difficult, especially also I don't know if this is a man thing, but also an age thing. Thinking back to where I used to be in comparison to where I am now has been one of the hardest parts. Because as I said, I used to be an athlete and I have never worked so hard to get, in my opinion, so little in my life. In my upper 40s is way harder to work out than in my 20s.
What were your biggest mindset shifts?
My biggest mindset shift is, like I was saying earlier, to move and eat to eat, to be able to eat to satisfy my body and listen to myself, to reconnect with my hunger, to reconnect with my body when I'm eating, because I shut my body off by trying to fast, by trying each different diet and just not I got to the point where I didn't even feel hungry anymore. So I just
Mm,
ate habitually or ate emotionally or just eat to eat.
yeah.
And another one, which I find very important, is to have a long-term focus. As I said, the first 8 months at Orange Theory, I did not lose any weight, and then I got on GLP-1s, um, like a year later, and I was a slow responder. I didn't lose a lot of weight like you read people like 94 pounds in 6 months or whatever. I think I lost 8 pounds my first 2 months. In my mind, I just kept on saying, "I'm 45, I wanna be fit by 50. If I can lose 50 pounds a year, sure, that's not amazing numbers, but in 4 years, in 5 years, that's 250 pounds. That's like I can get down to 220."
I was on GLP-1 as well from 2023. I started at 270 pounds. Currently, I'm at 210 pounds. My lowest was probably like 180. But I had to have a reflective conversation with myself. When I got down to 180 pounds, maybe 170, I don't remember the numbers, honestly. I was also going through the transition of my heartbreak. I was emotionally strung out. I was distraught. I really hung onto the crutch of not having the appetite with the GLP and probably self-sabotaged. I look at the pictures of what people would say, "Oh, that's a very successful transition from where you started to where you went." I actually just had a conversation with one of my family members this past week, and they're like, you really need to back off having all of these free food events because you've gotten fat again." Receiving that information, I'm just like, "Okay, that's not really anything that you should subject anybody to." And as far as me being fat, that's not actually true. I actually prefer myself at the more curvier body type. It's just more comfortable to my persona. It's more comfortable to my happiness. And I don't feel like I'm overweight. I don't feel like I have done anything wrong. I feel like I eat what I want to eat. I'm mindful of what I do eat. And I mean, it's just such a hateful place to be in life for people to make comments about anything like that regarding somebody's journey, whether it's mental health, whether it's weight loss, whether it's body dysmorphia, any of those things. And it's just kind of reflective of the reason why I don't really care for my family. And I'd rather not talk to them because I don't really value them or their opinions. They're pretty backwards in the way that they think and all of those things. I've heard whispers too through my family system about I didn't lose the weight naturally. I was on the shot and the shot did it for me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was present during this.
For me, the shot does help a
Yeah.
lot, especially I did intuitive eating, and I think I was lucky in the sense I was doing intuitive eating before I got on GLP-1s because I was able to build healthy habits before I got on there.
Yeah.
At least for me. And what GLP-1s really did for me is take intuitive eating and put it on training wheels
Yeah.
because that constant food noise disappeared. I used to have to take a Cliff Bar every time I went to Orange Theory because
Mhm.
if I didn't eat the Cliff Bar while driving home, I'll stop right into 7-Eleven, which is right on the way, and just buy some wings because
Yeah.
I was just so hungry after working out. But once I was on GLP-1s, I didn't really need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is still you doing it, and honestly, who cares?
Mhm.
As long as you're feeling better and getting healthier, I'm not and I honestly I kinda like the idea of, like, fit at any size, the
Yeah.
idea, because I think we put too big a much of a stigma on weight when
Yeah.
it comes to health. What's more important, I think, is, like, your blood work and the things you can't see that's going on underneath the body rather than whether or not you have some rolls or a bigger butt. In fact, I think, a bigger butt's probably better, especially when you get up in age a little bit because you get more cushion if you fall.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, and so for me, I also think that my weight gain was because of creatine. And so I started taking creatine and I started taking some other supplements, and that's when I noticed that my body started taking a better shape. So whenever I was working out and I was doing weights and things like that, I felt like the creatine helped kind of reposition things.
I definitely recommend getting, like, a SECA or a DECA scan if
Yeah.
you're in a weight loss journey, a well scan that shows, body composition, because at one point, after, like, a 2-month time, I was down something like 8 pounds total, but I was down, like, 12 pounds fat, and I actually gained muscle mass during
Yeah.
that.
No, so I do it's called Me 360, and it's a body scan app. And the results are definitely there. And the amount of body fat, I think we had a conversation about this online actually about the amount of body fat that I lost was a significant amount of body weight. That's not even like the question or anything like that. Like I know where I'm at and I'm quite comfortable with it. And if anything, I'm just in maintenance at this point, and I'm just kind of whittling away the last or chiseling away the last little bits of whatever's going on there. What do you wish people understood about men going through weight loss?
I think what I wish people would understood about men and women really is you can't tell what's going on by looking at them. You look at me now, I'm a 370 something person, but you don't know how hard it took me to become 370 pounds. That's one of the hardest things I ever did was going from 470 to 370. And you don't really know what's going on inside someone, how hard they're working, or what's going on in their life. Maybe they're not in a position to be able to put that dedication into working out because they just lost their job, their mom has cancer, and they're just trying to get through the day, and they just need that food for a crutch so they don't, do something worse to themselves. we don't really know what's going on in other people's lives, and we really shouldn't be judging people based on how they look. Because if shame worked, there'd be no fat people, period. But it doesn't. It does the opposite. Shame just makes people feel bad, and a lot of times when people feel bad, they do habits that don't help them.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So you've shared a lot about the weight loss journey, and how it's kind of shifted your perspective. Now I want to kind of connect that to something that many of us deal with in Seattle, dating. Confidence plays a huge role in how we show up. So let's talk about that moment of interest. Dating in Seattle. What's been your experience dating here, and especially during or after weight loss?
My experience is mostly a lack of dating. Haven't really done much. I went through my own breakup about 2 years ago now, and I think it took a year really to get to the point where I could think of dating, and yeah, I haven't really done much. One of my New Year's resolutions was to go on one date, and we have 4 months to go to make that happen.
Okay. And so if you were to have like an ideal setup, would it be like online and getting to know someone online? Are you on dating apps?
Right now I'm on dating apps, but I don't have the gumption. I don't really have the energy to get back on there. When I used to try to date before COVID and everything and before my ex, I did OkCupid and Plenty of Fish a lot to find dates and online.
Mhm.
And honestly, like the way I met my ex, I think the best way to meet someone is to have an event that of something you enjoy so you can meet someone of shared interests.
Mhm. So if you had the opportunity to meet someone, what kind of person would you like to meet?
Well, I would like to meet a fun person who's nice. I think kindness is very important. Humor. I like humor. I like someone who's funny. I like to laugh a lot. And I like someone who's passionate about something.
Mhm.
Even if I don't care, like my ex was really into crocheting and I like that. And honestly, I hate crocheting. It's Sweaters are a trigger for me because my mom forced me to wear sweaters as a kid and they were itchy and hurt. And I hate them so much, but I enjoyed her passion for it. But seeing somebody with passion and to be able to live their life and live their truth, that's I think one of the most sexiest, amazing thing about a person.
What other than the dating apps, which I okay, so I was single 2023 and I've kind of committed to staying solo in Seattle
Your blood group.
since 2023, and I have kind of went back and forth with like meeting people and trying it out, and then I'm just like, no, thank you, because I personally like to be alone. I really, really, really enjoy being by myself, and I just feel like the people that I've met organically in the wild, because as we know, I'm very social, so I don't have any lack of attention or meeting or any of those things, but I tend to find that the person kind of falls for the online persona, and then they get to know me and they're like, "You're doing too much. You're all over the place. You're too busy. You're too this. You're too that." And I'm like, "That sounds like control to me, and that's a problem."
I don't think you should like people for where they are. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who's been dating somebody, and she was complaining about the fact that the person she's dating is somebody who works all the time. But I was like, he was someone who worked all the time when you met them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I say too. I'm like, my life is not a secret. People who are getting to know me, whether it's organically, whether it's online, whether it's through, whatever platforms. Like I'm the same person online that I am offline. And I don't show up any differently unless like I'm hella loaded or something. But, then I'm just like really fun. There's like no limits whenever kicking them back. The thing is that that's what I've had the most trouble with is somebody who's like, "Man, you're charismatic, you're funny, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. You do so much," and then I'm like, you knew this. Like I put it all out there. And "Oh, well, you don't have time for me and this and that." And I'm like, "I don't. You chose to enter my orb," you
Yeah,
know?
you gotta meet people where they're at. I think that's one of the most important things on both
And I'm just
sides.
not willing to. Like, I honestly am not willing to change absolutely anything about myself or my life. And so it's just kinda like, get on or get off for me at this point.
And I think the people who are generally willing to do that are never truly happy.
I just kinda stick to my own thing and, move how I wanna move. So, how do you handle Seattle's dating culture, like the coined phrase, the Seattle freeze?
I don't I guess I never really got into dating culture. I mostly dated online when I, used to try to date. I guess most of it, I have a confidence issue, to be honest. I have this feeling that I'm not a desirable person. I have a feeling that I'm not an well, I can't say not interesting person because I am, but I grew up most of my life with anxiety, and my most anxiety thing is that people don't really like me. And the problem with dating, especially in Seattle or probably anywhere, is you get a lot of confirmation of that when you are dating, because it's way more rejection than not rejection in dating, at least I found.
Mhm.
Most dates when I did online dating were single dates. There were a couple of them that worked out for a longer term, but it was mostly rejection.
Okay.
I don't know, dealing with rejection isn't
Right, of course not. Have you asked them, like, "Can you explain to me why you rejected me?" Or does that not work for you?
that doesn't work for me. I don't need more reasons to feel down on myself.
Okay. Understandable. Like, for me, I'm a confronter. So, like, if I feel like I'm being rejected in any capacity, I'm like, "I need for you to explain in 20 words or less what the fuck's going on here."
I'm the opposite. I'm unfortunately non-confrontational, something I'm definitely working on. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the main reasons my last relationship didn't work out is we were both non-confrontational, and
Mhm.
when you neither one of you wanna bring up issues, issues never get resolved.
When you're out and you see a woman you're interested in, how do you start that conversation? Do you have a go-to way to approach women, or is it more about reading the vibe? And when you are interested, how do you let her know without coming off too strong?
Well, the honest answer is I don't. I sometimes I will have a conversation in my head that will go fine, and then my growth is I stop worrying about it so much.
Would you walk up to a woman in the grocery store and have a conversation if you thought she was attractive?
Yeah, I can have a conversation. I'm at a point in my life where I can have a conversation with anyone. Honestly, I've made that actually a point at Orange Theory is just talking to people,
Mhm.
whether I find them attractive or not attractive.
Okay.
And just having a because I do like talking to people. I do like getting into conversations. And sometimes I do try to stretch myself and talk to someone I do find attractive. But to take something to the next level and ask for a date, unfortunately, I would love to say that was something I knew how to do or had any skill at, but unfortunately, I do not.
The thing with me is, I mean, I just go for it. I'm like, "Hey, do you wanna hang out? Hey, do you wanna grab food? Hey, do you wanna do this? Hey, do you wanna do that?" And sometimes I find myself in a little bit of a pickle, because, like, I sometimes it's just, like, me being friendly and just, like, wanting someone to go somewhere with me to experience, like, something I'm doing, but that other person is like, "Oh, it's an open invitation," and this girl is, like, here for it, you know? And then so I recently had an experience where this guy, he is a famous podcaster, and he was like, "Oh, let me take you under my wing, and I'll mentor you and do all of these things," and I was like, "Oh, shit, hell yeah," you know? And so I met up with him, he helped me create some stuff on my Spotify, and he helped me with the RSS feed and things like that, and then he kinda, like, tried to make a move on me, and I was like, "Bro, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?" You know, and he's like, "Oh, well, we went to dinner and, like, we kinda carried it afterwards," and I was like, "Motherfucker, this is a business transaction." You know, and so
Oh, yeah.
then, like, it kind of obviously went in a weirdo way, and I was like, "I mean, we're cool and all," you know, and I was supposed to, like, hop on his podcast, and he had, like, reserved studio space to kinda show me the ropes of, like, live podcasting and things like that, and then he kind of, switched up the tone on me and was like I don't know, it was weird, so I just ghosted him. I did, because I was like, "You know what? Like, I'm not dealing with this, and I'm not dealing with a man who's gonna push up on me." I thought it was transactional. There was nothing on my side of things. I even had my brother, like, read the text message chain of, like, the agreement, and my brother was like, "No, you weren't leading," any of that stuff, and, like, there were parts in the text message that were kind of flirty, but I curbed it, I was like, "Eh."
Mhm.
This is like business is transactional, like whatever. And then in one part of the conversation, he was like, I don't know, he said something along the lines of like me using him.
Well, a lot of especially men think of women as like objects, really, something to conquer, something to do. And a lot of times when they go into those transactions, they're doing that with the undertone of trying to get with the person. I think a lot of unfortunately, a lot of us men don't really think of women as people.
Well, and the thing with him was he tried to do a power play, right? Because he felt like, "Oh, I'm a baby podcaster essentially, and I'm this, subscriber YouTuber person." I'm like, "Bro, I make hella money regardless of this podcast. Like, I could take it or leave it." And it's not like a power play. This is a passion project for me. It's not, I mean, of course, who wouldn't wanna monetize something, right? But, like, I'm not gonna do it, like, on some dirty back shit. Sorry. Maybe if you caught me, like, nah, I'm too powerful for that. I could just do it on my own and figure it out, or I have a bucket full of resources that I can tap into. I know way too many people in multiple media industries to ever succumb to a power play of a man.
Especially just for podcasting.
What?
Especially just for podcasting.
So, if you had your preference, and we might have touched on this earlier, meeting women, would it be in person or would it be online?
Honestly, I prefer in person. I well, honestly, being a man of size, I think I do better in person, period, because then I can show my personality and my
Yeah.
award-winning smile. That does not show well online, I don't think,
Okay.
as much. Haven't really, at least ever since last this year, have tried online, and so far I've only gotten to a couple of conversations. But in person, I don't know, went speed dating last month, and that was pretty fun. I got some matches for friends. I think I took that personal was my issue because
Mhm.
a lot of times women would probably just do the friends thing even if they were interested in dating because that's kind of how women are mostly,
Mhm.
or at the very least, just to see where things go, and I just took
Well, I
that.
mean, like, I feel like if the connection is there, it's there. If you're getting friend zoned, it's not there. And I mean, people have a really hard time with saying no, and people have a really hard time with letting others down. Like for you and myself, like I feel like we bonded over the weight loss journey, and it's a pretty platonic friendship as far as that goes. Whatever you do and whatever I do, we both encourage each other to be the best versions of ourselves, you know? I know for myself personally, like, well, I just feel like I have such a just off button towards the opposite sex most days. I mean, I typically and intentionally friend zone the men that I meet because I know their track record. Like all of the men that I hang out with, they're all recycled meat. It's just kind of like finding some untapped earth is kind of hard.
Oh, in your 40s, that's gonna be near impossible.
Well, no, I'm talking about everybody in the communities that I thrive in, like, everyone is
Oh,
kind of like,
already
they're
dated the
all
people who are in that
intermingled,
community.
yeah, and I prefer not to share experiences. That's
That
just
makes sense.
just not gonna work for me. So, how do you balance confidence with not wanting to seem pushy?
I honestly don't. I just try to be myself and be who I am authentically. I know
Mhm,
that's such a funny word, because I've known that's a buzzword, especially in the self-help, spiritual community, to live authentically. But I've come to the conclusion in my life, if someone's going to like me, I want them to like me for who I am. So I don't think of it as being confident. I just want to have a conversation. I just want to get to know you. I just want to be who I am, and I wanna be with someone who likes me for who I am and not some idea of me. Because I don't wanna date an idea of a person. I don't wanna date a persona of a person. I want to date that person, and I wanna know who they are, and I want someone who wants to know who I am, so I don't feel that I'm confident when I'm talking to somebody. I just feel like being who I am. I'm
yeah,
just being my authentic self. When we went for dinner that one time, that was just me being me. I don't feel I was being confident or pushy in our friendship or whatever. I was just being who I am authentically. And if you wanted to continue our friendship and continue talking, that's it's a good thing as long as we enjoy each other's company. But
yeah.
I
No,
think the
I
one of the
know.
problems is just trying to get something. And I think especially when I falter and when I become, what's the word? When I guess become shy is when I try to get something out of the situation.
Yeah.
So trying to become pushy makes me kinda go in and not.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that one example that I gave about the podcaster dude, like, I really haven't had dudes, like, pushing up on me, and being like, look, I mean, I have guys being confident all the time, mainly dickheads, but I can match your energy, but, like, the pushiness is a ick, As far as, like, you and I go, like, we are gonna be, like, forever foodie friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are gonna journey through this whole state if we need to, like, figure out, like you helped my freaking with your recommendation, my freaking video went viral on TikTok.
That was a great brownie sundae.
That was crazy. I was like, "How the hell?" Like, I mean, I've had a few videos go viral, but, like, it was so cool. I was like, "What the hell?" Brett, the recommendation that you gave me, the freaking video went, like, phew, like, I mean, super quick, and it's still, like, gaining traction, which is wild. Um do you think that your weight loss journey has changed how you approach women or how they respond to you? So, give yourself flowers, tap yourself on the back for the 100-pound loss, right? So, think about like 470 to 370 and you being able to navigate moving forward because, like you said, that was such a huge accomplishment and you're not where you were, right?
Yeah. Well, I can just look at simple things like the data. Last year, I went speed dating like 4 times, and I got the grand total of 1 match. This year, I just went on that one, and sure, they're all friends, but that was like 4 or 5 people who
Mhm.
matched with me, and the conversation was better. I can just even feel it last year. You can almost feel the women not really wanting to talk to me.
Mm.
And this year, that didn't really happen.
Okay.
15 pounds less right now than when I met my ex. So I know I'm at a weight where women can find me attractive.
Mhm.
That does help in that regard and actually trying and talking to people. I do feel more confident within myself. Yeah, feeling way more confident in myself, especially just being able to move. See it so much in my face.
Yeah.
Like looking at my face 2 years ago to my face now, it looks like, in my opinion, a different face.
Okay.
And it does help with feeling good about myself, definitely.
Good. I love that. So, do you have any tips for men who struggle with starting conversations or fear rejection? Like, if someone were to give you advice, what advice would you like to hear?
And basically, my advice is just, and as silly as it sounds, just be yourself. I honestly, one of the funniest things about my life is the thing that got me into personal growth and self-development was learning, pickup artist stuff, and the idea of being a persona and dating a persona, like creating a person who you are, just sounds exhausting.
Mhm.
And do you really want to be with someone you don't like or doesn't really like you? I mean, is that a way you want to live your life? I don't understand this part about dating. I mean, that's the thing that really opened my eyes on TikTok is hearing how many men date women that they don't like. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? You're not going to be happy. You're not going to enjoy yourself. Yeah, so I guess I think I just went on a tangent, but
No,
really
that
just
was
being
really
your
good. I'm like, wait, I haven't been on that side of TikTok where there's men that date women they don't like. Like, what does that mean?
well, just a lot of times, the thing that really opened my eyes to it was a Facebook post of my ex. I took a picture of her in a sweater that she knit, and I posted on Facebook and say, "Look at this awesome sweater that that she knit." That got more likes on Facebook than our engagement, and it just made me realize how rare it is for a man to celebrate the accomplishments of their woman, and on that side of TikTok, they really talk about how a lot I mean, if you just look at sitcoms in the 1950s and the 1960s, the entire joke was, "One of these days, I'm gonna punch you in the face." Zam zoom to the moon. His whole thing was like, men don't really like the women that they're married to. But I think that's a lot of times because I don't think a lot of men don't think of women as people. They think of them as objects or things to conquer, to have sex with, and to become a trophy to clean my house. But the reality is that they are people just like us. I mean, men and women have differences, but we're not that different to the point where like we have such different wants and desire. We all want to be loved. We all want to be cared for. We all want to be seen for who we are. And my advice is to find somebody who wants to see you for who you are truly, because that's what we all want. We all want to be seen. We all want to be loved. We all want to be cared for. not by what we do, not by what we provide, but for who we show up in the world. And I think a lot of us, especially in our capitalistic society, try to think about life as a transactional way of what we do and how we do it and what we provide people. And I think a lot of men can get stuck in that idea of being the provider and doing for their woman, and to the point where they don't even, as I said, don't even need to like their woman. They just need to be and have her as something to own, to show off, or to have, because that's what he needs to make his life complete, because that's what the capitalist ideal of what that life means, if you understand what I'm saying, if that makes
Yeah, no,
sense.
I'm following you, and I'm thinking about my own relationship, right? Because I was with somebody for a decade, and this person fucking hated me. And it's very realistic, because, when we got together, we were very shallow and we made this commitment of body image. And if we, looked a certain way or whatever the case was, we would no longer be attracted to each other. And obviously, 10 years down the road, you don't look like yourself 10 years prior. And he held fast to that. He held fast to that commitment of not being attracted. So he says, if I gained weight in our relationship and use that as a crutch, along with my personality and some other things that, he decided to pick apart one by one and try to, emotionally tear me down. And I did do the gender roles. I cooked, I cleaned, I did this, I did that, and it was never satisfactory. Never.
Yeah, and I'm not this is not defending him at all, but there's no way he was happy with that. There's no way he was a satisfied man who enjoyed his life living that way. He's
Mm-mm.
wanted an ideal, an idea, but if he loved you for you and truly saw you and liked that part of you, number one, weight wouldn't matter because you're still who you
Yeah.
are. That
No, he's
essence is
he's a
still
he's
there.
very shallow, He's very shallow, and, now that he has been removed from that level of comfortability that I afforded him with those gender roles and, being able to be, all of these things that, society ticks off saying that if you were to marry a woman, she's XYZ, whatever the case is. But I came to find out that that's not true. We entered into that relationship with the intention of being married. And at the conclusion of our relationship, he disclosed he knew early on he never intended on marrying me. And he stayed. He stayed for all of those years. And then I remember asking him at the end of our relationship, "When did you fall out of love with me?" And he admitted to have fallen out of love with me a year prior to our actual breakup. And I'm like, "Why did you stay here?"
Yeah, he had to be miserable and just probably made him more bitter and more mean to you and just make you more bitter. Nothing works out that way.
Yeah, I mean, it was not, we definitely were just 2 trains passing in the night. We're definitely roommate situation, At one point, I left to go care for my father, and I was gone for 45 days and realized I hadn't even talked to him.
Wow.
So that's where we were at in our relationship. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that side of TikTok then. And what you're saying is 100% validated that you could have the most beautiful outward shell of a woman that possess all of these qualities, but you could actually fucking hate her and you stay.
Yeah, and you won't be happy with that.
Yeah. And that's fine, because I just think that, everybody has to go through that level of toxicity to come out on the other side to be like, "I'm not fucking cooking, I'm not cleaning, I'm not putting out, I'm not doing none of this shit. You know what? You want it, you do it yourself." Like I no, I'm just kidding. Like I'm a Southern woman, like if I do have somebody that I have the slightest interest in, and, I definitely hold a value system that's very traditional. But if like a man decides to bring it up first, I'm like, hell no. Better do that shit yourself, So I definitely bucked the system because of PTSD, my last relationship for sure. But I mean, it's all a learning curve. So, because so much of dating and approaching people comes down to confidence and comfort with yourself, which ties right into another big part of your story, living alone and actually enjoying it. A lot of people struggle with that, but you found a way to kind of thrive within your own self and your community. And I know that you're kind of busy during the week with working, and then you have some activities that you do that are set on your schedule. I don't know if you still do them or not, but I know at one point you did, with your games and your communities and things like that.
Yeah, I play online RPGs right now. I
Mhm.
used Used to be really big in, like, Toastmasters and trying to going to business events to try to be a life coach, and ever since I gave that up, I just had to find ways to meet with people and to, number 1, get out of my house. That's one reason why
Yeah.
I started going to Orange Theory. I needed to meet people and just be around people. I start doing online, tabletop RPGs like Dungeons& and Dragons because it's a fun way to get out my creativity and
Mhm.
connect with people and have a good time.
Yeah. And so within that community, have you had like do you not have opportunity to meet someone? Like, cause that would be I feel like that would be, like, perfect, right? If you found, like, a Dungeon& and Dragons babe.
Well, I play mostly online with people around the world, and most of them are men,
Okay.
and honestly, a lot of people in the LGBTQ space.
Okay.
M my I don't wanna say access, but my view of them, the word you get when you're around people more?
Your vantage point?
I don't know. Exposure. My exposure
Exposure.
to the LGBTQ has increased a lot ever since I've done online TTRPGs, which has been very eye-opening and really cool to be able to talk to more people with different viewpoints in life and
Yeah.
in different parts and expanding my ability to talk with people and relate. But since it's online, it's from people across the world, it's not really into dating. I
Mhm.
probably should go to more in-person events,
I
especially
was gonna
gaming
say, don't they
events.
have, like, meetups and stuff like that for
There are, I just have to go,
Okay.
and there are
Alright.
some women who are into board games, which is something I also really enjoy.
Yeah. Alright. So how do you balance your independence with social connection? So I know you said Orange Theory, playing Dungeons& and Dragons, and your online stuff that you do and building community with that, and now speed dating.
Honestly, the independence part's the easy thing. When COVID happened and my breakup happened, that's when I just hermited up and didn't really wanna go anywhere and do anything, and being over 400 pounds made that super easy because just the thought of going out and knowing that everyone's judging me is just something I didn't want to deal with. So being
Sure.
able to, like, stay at home and do nothing. So it's more of especially something I've been working on with my therapist and talking about it is going out more, is more doing things like going out for a beer again and maybe striking up random conversations with people like I used to, going to events, going to get my into like spiritual events and getting my tarot read, things like that.
You should so I'm gonna probably have a market on Thursday, on the first Thursday in Pioneer Square with my business, and my girl, her name is Ambrosia, she does astrology down there, and she's good.
Nice.
And first Thursday is, like, huge, there's, like, thousands of people there. So, you know, if you don't have anything to do, you can come hang at my booth and we can people watch and then Ambrosia is typically, like, across the way, from where I set up. But yeah, like, that would be a pretty cool opportunity, and it's, like, people of all walks of life, and they're so friendly, and everyone talks to each other, and it's just this awesome community, and it's just in the Occidental Square of, like, Pioneer Square, which
Oh,
is
nice.
it's kinda hard to get to if you don't go early, but it's such a fun experience. So, if you're not doing anything the first Thursday in September, I would encourage you to do that just to kind of get out of your comfort zone, and you can come hang with me if you want and get your astrology read by Ambrosia because she's amazing. She actually was the first guest on my podcast.
Cool.
Yeah, I met her in February, and she's just such an amazing person. So, what does being comfortable alone look like for you?
I like having my own space. A lot. When I graduated from college, I moved in with my dad, and then I moved in with my uncle, and then I lived with some guys from high school for 10 years. And then after that, ever since then, for the last like 15 years, I've been living alone, and I love having my own space. I love knowing this is my stuff, this is my mess. And yeah, I can live the way I want to live. I think that would probably be the hardest thing. I had a roommate for a year once, and it was a awful experience, to say the least.
Yeah. How do you avoid loneliness while still enjoying solo living?
I have to get out and do things.
Yeah.
It can be very lonely. I get very lonely a lot. As I mentioned before, that's one reason why I went to Orange Theory,
Yeah.
because I know I could meet people, and the people who work there are very friendly. They always have a smiling face, they always wave at me, they talk to me, which is just helpful for my mental state, especially with working from home, working remote.
Yeah.
Uh, just miss those random conversations with people at work. And then it is on my weekend going out and doing things, going to festivals, going to speed dating, trying to meet up with friends and play board games, playing with my family and play board games, and just trying to get out and do things because it's so easy to do nothing.
Yeah. No, seriously. So, do you have any tips for people trying to build social confidence in this Seattle sometimes cold scene? I mean, I know that you've kind of been on the other side of it. Like you felt you weren't well received. And so, do you have anything like heads ups?
Honestly, I think just finding something that you enjoy and going to be with people who also enjoy it. Having shared interests is very important. And there's like meetup.com is a great place to meet people for anything.
Yeah.
Heck, I just joined a Discord for Twilight Imperium, this board game that takes 8 hours. I didn't know there was a Twilight Imperium community in Seattle area. If there's something that you like, and I don't know if I like Imperium yet, that is a long freaking board game,
Yeah.
but there is something you like. There is a group of people who also like it, and if you are someone who's shy, being around somebody with a common shared interest is a good way to work on breaking out of your shell. And just
Yeah.
having a conversation with people, honestly, and try not to have any hidden reason to do it, hidden agenda. Just have a conversation with someone to enjoy their company.
Right. No, absolutely. And you touched on this earlier about if you could give advice to men struggling with their weight or their social confidence, what would it be? And you said that it would be just to be yourself, right? Is there anything you want to piggyback on with that?
I think it is be yourself and also move to move and eat to eat. Just work on eating healthy, just work on getting the nutrition you need, getting the protein you need, and eating in a way where you're just not eating too much. And don't worry about weight loss. If you build healthy habits, your body will become what it is meant to become. And like for me at least, just and also just find what works for you to move. You need to move and just find the way you want to move. For me, it's Orange Theory. For you, it could be pickleball and basketball or just going for a walk. Just do something where you move your body for a certain amount of time. At least 150 minutes a week is what I heard
Hmm.
is what you need. And just do that. Even if it's just doing squats at home, just find somewhere to move your body.
Right. No,
Move to
absolutely.
move, eat to eat, and do what you enjoy doing.
Yeah. Very, very solid advice. So, what's next for you personally? Any health goals, any dating goals, any community building stuff you got going on?
Well, I do hope I will reach my goal of having one date before the end of the year. Kind of working on that. I still working out at Orange Theory. I'm hoping to hit the 350 by the end of the year so I can feel nice going on a plane because I want to go to Gen Con next year.
No, that'd be really cool. Well, I know that you talk a lot about your own journey online. So, if you want to connect with others, if they resonate with this, where can people find you, connect you, follow you?
I'm on any social media as Joyce Expansion. That was the name of my business when I was trying to get that off the ground, but I still use that for my weight loss journey. Also, Awesome Health Journey on YouTube is where I do at least about 5 to 10 minutes a week of just talking about what I'm going through. Sometimes I talk about my mental health as well as because I think mental health and physical health are two sides of the same coin. We tend to think of like healthcare and mental care as different, but I think they're just totally aligned.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Solo in Seattle podcast. Huge thanks to Brett for sharing his story and reminding us that no matter where you are in your journey, health, dating, or just learning to be comfortable in your own company, it's all about showing up authentically. So if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, share the episode with a friend, and leave a review. And as always, you can find me on Instagram at Solo in Seattle or Brett at Joyous Expansion. Until next time, keep thriving, keep loving yourself, and remember, you're never really solo in Seattle.